Hi, this is Mrs. Reddy, and today we're going to try an experiment. You're going to take notes over some things that I won't have time to cover in class. So we will take about 5 minutes of notes online, and then you might be seeing an open note quiz when you come back next time we meet. So get ready, title your notes Types of Government, and here we go. First, I wanted to familiarize you with not a quote, but a saying that you will hear often talking about the founding fathers. They really didn't trust the general public. They were considered to be uneducated, unaware, uninformed. And so the elite, who were the founding fathers, they were wealthy, they were landowners, feared the tyranny of the majority, meaning they feared the emotional, maybe irrational, maybe kind of poor judgment of the majority. So they had to keep them at arm's length somehow. And keep that in mind as we're looking at representative democracy. Okay, forms of government comes first. And we're going to look at 5 different forms of government, starting with anarchy. Anarchy would be a form of government where there is no government. Chaos. Think about the activity we did called Leaderland Free Land. This would be free land, where anything goes. Next on the list is autocracy. Autocracy, we would say, is rule by one, and there are 3 different types of autocracy we're going to address here. One is absolute monarchy, meaning that we have a king or a queen and who has gained power through inheritance, and there are no restrictions on that power. You can tell I'm in my classroom maybe because you hear the printer going in the background. Next is constitutional monarchy. Constitutional monarchy is where the ruler gains power through inheritance, but there are formal restrictions on that ruler because there is a constitution in place. An example of this would be in England. We have a queen, but we also have a prime minister who rules over parliament. So the real governing is done by parliament, and the queen is more of a figurehead. But they love their queen.
Good morning, teachers. Career and technology.
Yes, you can tell I'm at school because you just heard the announcements. Okay, third form is dictatorship. A dictatorship would be absolute power of the ruler. The ruler keeps power by force and restricts opposition to it. There are no restrictions on that leader's powers. An example of that certainly could be Cuba, Communist China, and North Korea. Next category, oligarchy. Weird word. It means rule by a few. The few tend to be aristocrats, the wealthy. This tends to be the type of government we see in Russia. So when we talk about aristocracy, we're talking about the wealthy, the ones who are in position due to social status and wealth. The other type of oligarchy would be theocracy. Theocracy would mean rule by religious leaders, and an example of that would be the Vatican City in Rome. Okay, last of all, we come to democracy, which is rule by the people. We have 2 types. We have direct democracy, which we do not have in this country. We have indirect democracy, which we'll talk about. Direct democracy meaning that the people directly make the laws and the people directly are in charge. Instead, in our country, we elect representatives. So there is a buffer between us and the government. The representative we send to Washington, D.C. or to Austin to make the laws. So when you have a representative form of government, we call that a republic. So you can remember with REP in rep and REP in representative means the same thing. Okay, we're going to move on to a next slide that shows you our representative in Congress, and it says District 3, but I think it might be 32, and they changed the districts. That's Pete Sessions.
Lauren Ellis.
He's been at our school before. We may have him come visit again this year. He is a Republican. Whenever you see either an R or a D after the name, it tells you which party they are with. We also have our senators from Texas, and let me extend this down. There we go. Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, both Republicans. Every state gets 2 senators only, no matter how large the state or how small the state. Now, you've seen a lot of Ted Cruz. He is running for the Republican nomination for president. So stay tuned and see what happens. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about the changing face of who is an American. First of all, population today is 320 million. Since 1960, the population has increased by more than 50%. That's huge, and that's a very rapid growth. Why has our population grown? It's grown due to birth rate, increased birth rate, falling infant mortality rates, longer lifespans, with the greatest increases in the last 10 years in the South and West. That includes Texas. Cause of population growth, one of them is that our, that's kind of a repeat of the last bullet, so just blob it all together. Our population is aging. In 1950, the average life expectancy was 65 years of age for males. Now it is 80 to 84. And I'm an example, and so is Mr. Bennett. We're both in our 60s, and we're both still teaching, and we're both still alive. So, yay team. Okay, racial and ethnic diversity. Our nation is becoming increasingly diverse. The fastest growing ethnic group in the U.S. is the Hispanic population. The largest racial minority in the U.S. would be African Americans at 13% of the population, and the largest ethnic minority would be Hispanics at 16% of the population. Whoops. Oh well, I just closed that slide. But why does this matter to government and politics? Why does it matter who our population is and how large? It matters because they are the voters, they are the electorate, and the priorities of the government change as we bring in new voters. That's it. A few interruptions, a few mistakes, but we did it. So I will see you in class. Bring your notes. Thanks.